Today is a review of week 1 on Math 1332 of the Developmental Aspect 308. And we're going to be studying decimals and percents, which is a great part of what we'll be doing in Chapter 8. So we begin with the definition of a decimal. A decimal is done division on a fraction. So what we have is, like, suppose we have 3/8. All right, so that would be 3 divided by 8. We know a decimal appears after every whole number. So I say 8 divides into 3 0 times, and I put the decimal above. So 8 divides 30 3 times, right? That's 24. And then I subtract and I get a 6, and that's less than 8. So then I bring down the next number, 0. 8 divides 60 5 times, or 6 times, 7 times. Oh, I'm sorry, 7 times, which makes it 56. I draw my line and change my sign, and then I get a 4 and bring out another 0, and I get a 5. So this is the decimal representation of 3/8. So we know 3/8 as a decimal is that. Well, what we have here are digits after a decimal, and those are place values. The 3 stands for 3/10, and the 7 stands for 7/100, and the 5 stands for 1,000. So we say in this number 375 thousandths. Notice we don't have ones in a decimal. So I got a chart so that we can look at it. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths, and that's exactly what we have there. And the last digit, the last part of it, is how we read the number. And then the numbers on this side are ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, and 100,000s. So these are the whole numbers of the aspect, and these are the fractional part, because the decimal is done division on a fraction. All right. So in mathematics, we need to round decimals. But to get to that, we first have to figure out where the decimal lies. All right, so here are some examples. Again, we're looking at our chart. And, because a decimal is and then I have 701,647 millions. Well, they're asking us, so what is the 4? 4's place value is tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000, 100,000s. Says it's a decimal, not 100,000, because that would mean a whole number. It's a TH on it. So on this one, they want to know what is the digit 5. All right. So we have tens, hundred, thousands. 5's place value thousandths with a TH to tell me it's on the decimal side. All right, we've got one more. Find the value of the underlying digit. That's that 7 right there. This is tenths, hundreds, thousands, hundred thousands. The sevens, place value. What did I say it was? 10, 100,000, 10,000s. So we know that the decimal running to the right of that decimal is the decimal values. And they're in tenths, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, and 100,000s. All right, now we're going to talk about rounding decimal values. This is important in the section that we're going into in chapter 8. So what do we do with rounding? Our first step is to locate and identify place value. Right. So we have to find the digit they want us to round to, and then look at the number. So the next step, look at digit, that means number, the number, to the right of digit place value. Right. So then there's some conditions. So we're talking to the number to the right of the digit. If the digit to the right is greater than or equal to 5, that means that it can be a 5, a 6, a 7, an 8, or a 9. If it's one of these digits, then increase place value digit by 1. In other words, add 1 to it. Then there's the other condition. If the digit to the right is less than 5, that means that it could be a 0, a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4. It can be one of these numbers on the right. Then place value, it remains as is. Then we have the last step. All digits to the right of place value drop off. Not considered, because you stop the number at that place value. All right, let's do it. Round the following decimals to the given place value. It says I've got, let me make some room for myself. So I've got this number, 62 and 697 thousandths. And they want us to round to the nearest whole number. Well, this is the whole number. It's ones. So I'm looking at 6. Is 6 greater than or equal to 5? And the answer is yes. Because it's yes, we're going to take the 2, that's a digit to the left, and add 1. So I put 63, and I drop off all the decimals. Righty, here we go. So now we're going to do another one. This one is 62 and 697 thousandths to the nearest tenths. Well, the digit in tenths is the first one after the decimal. That's tenths. And we're looking at the 9. The 9 is greater than or equal to 5. Therefore, we're going to increase place value 6 by 1. And it makes it a what? Yeah, a 7. So I'm going to rewrite it as 62 and 7 tenths. All right, and that's rounding. We don't put those into the number. We stop where we round. All right, so let's look at this one. Now, this is for decimals. This is for decimals. We have the same number. We're rounding to the hundredths. So this is tenths and this is hundredths. So we're going to use the 7. Well, the 7 is greater than or equal to 5. So we increase place value digit, and it was a 9 by 1. Oh, now what happens? Okay, so if I have 9 and I add 1, I get 10. So this means I have a carryover. So I'm going to add 1 here, and I get 0, and I add here 7.62. So my answer is 62 and 70 hundredths. You have to place a 0 because that's the decimal you rounded to. Very good. So how do we change a percent to a decimal? Well, this is pretty easy. Now we can do it the quick and dirty, or we can do it by math. So by math. All right. We know percents are parts of 100, and the decimal is in place value. So we take the decimal and multiply by 100 and add percent symbol after that product. Other way is decimal. Okay, this way you start at decimal, point, and move to the right. Two places, rewrite as a percent. All right, so we're going to do both of them. Before we do that, I got to pull out my calculator. Right? Anytime you have a mess on your calculator, you just do second quit and second quit, and you'll get to the home screen. This is called the home screen. All right, so let me make some room so we can write. If I do it by math, I do percent. Oh, wait, what did I do here? percent. Oh, I did it wrong up here. Sorry about that. Let's go back up to the lesson. Percent to a decimal. I did decimal to percent. We'll do that next. I'm sorry. Let's go back. I apologize. Didn't read. To change percent to a decimal, divide by 100%. Or we move decimal to the left 2 places. Insert decimal. We'll do this one. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. All right. So here we go. So if I had 5 4/10%, I would divide by the 100%. These would cancel. Then I'd get on my calculator and I would do 5 4/10 divided by that 100. And I would get the decimal, 0.054. Let me look at that again. Let me that thought. See how it is? 0.054. Or I can take the 5.4%, cancel this, and move the decimal 2 places to the left and put a decimal. And that makes it 0.054. Okay, did we get the same thing? Yes. We're going to do it again. This one is 500%. So we're going to take the 500%, divide by 100%. Those cancel. And now we're going to put it in our calculator. And we get 5. We get the whole number 5. All right. Now we're going to do it the other way. So I have 500%. I'm going to cross out the percent. The decimal always follows a whole number. I'm going to move the decimal to the left 2 places, and I get 5. Same number. All right, now we got the last one. All right, this one is kind of ridiculous, but it's just for practice. So what I have here is 111 and 628 thousandths percent. I'm going to divide by that 100%. These guys cancel out. I'm going to put that in my calculator. And I get 1 and 11628. All right. Now we're going to do it the quick and dirty way. The 111 and 628%. Okay, I'm going to cross out my percent. I'm going to go where the decimal is and go 2 places and put a decimal. That makes the answer 1 and 11628, and this is millionths in a decimal. See how we match. Whichever way you want to go is okay. Now we got the one I had done earlier, and I'm sorry about that. Remember, to get rid of the percent, we go to the left. To get it into a percent, we go to the right. How to convert a decimal to percent. So we're going to, if we do it mathematically, because we know a percent is parts of 100, we're going to take the decimal, multiply by 100, and add percent symbol after product. All right. If we do it by shortcut, we get the decimal, and move it 2 places to the right this time. This is right. And insert. Then add percent. Right, here we go. All right, so we've got 3 of them. I got to make some room. All right, so if we did the first one, we would take the 337 10,000ths. We'd multiply by 100, and we'll do that with a calculator. And I would get this. I'd add a percent symbol. If I did it the other way, I would start at my decimal and move to the right and enter the new decimal place. And that would be 3 37/100%. Same thing. All right. Now this next one is kind of unusual because it's a very small decimal. It's 3,000ths. So let's look at that one. Okay. So if we do it mathematically, we're going to multiply by 100. So I'm going to do that. And I get 3 and add the symbol. See, they get the 3. All right, now we're going to do it the other way. I start at my decimal and I move it to the right 2 and put a new position. So I'm going to rewrite it. The 0 in front of the decimal is just to show you that it's a very small amount. Now we have this one here, and let's do it. So I take the 1 and 93,000ths, multiply by 100. Here I go. And I get 109 and 3/10 and add a percent. Because this is 100. Right there is 100%. So it is over 1. Okay, so that's that one. Now we're going to do it by moving the decimal. So I'm going to start where the decimal is, move to the right to insert the new decimal, and rewrite it the percent symbol. And you can see it's the same. That's a 9. Right. Now you study what you need to study to make sense. All right, now what we're going to do is solve equations with one variable. Okay, that means we go backwards in order of operations. But what we do on these, because they're not difficult, there's not any double parts, it's a one or the other. And we talk about the fact that the variable is on one side of the equation, then use addition property to remove with it. To isolate the variable. If the variable has a digit attached, means multiplication, and use to undo multiplication. Okay, so here we go. Notice that we have the variable is x, 8x, 8 of them is equal to 64. So we want to undo multiplication by division. So that's like a fraction. So I take the 8x and divide by 8 equals 64 divided by 8. Well, the 8 divides itself, so I'm left with x equals, and 64 divided by 8 is 8. Now, if you don't know that answer, then use your calculator. Now, notice here we have a negative 9y equals 5/4. All right, so this means that this right here is the digit attached to the variable. So I'm going to undo that by dividing by a negative 9. So y equals a negative 6. These are called solution. Okay, solutions. So in the computer, they want you to put the solutions in bird lips. They'll show you how on the computer. Now this is the addition property, so we're going to do the opposite sign. We've got our variable right here. So we're going to have x minus the 5 equal to negative 17. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. This zeroes out. It's gone. So I have x equal. Well, if I'm in the whole $17 and I add $5 to it, I'm still in the whole $12. So this one, the solution set is negative 12. Well, this one says 90 equals x minus 131. Well, we notice that we need to do the opposite sign of subtraction. The opposite sign of subtraction is addition. So this zeroes out, so I have x equals, and I'm going to add this. And this is it. So my solution set is 221. Nothing hard. Right. Now this next problem involves what we'll be doing in section 8.1. And I'll go over it again in the video in the next homework. So and this one is solving equations involving percents. So we're going to talk about what's APB? Okay. A equals percent of, oh wait, this is, yeah. of base, PB. Okay, I had to think a moment. All right, so A stands for amount. And the amount is always around the word it. All right. P stands for percent. And we're going to change it to a decimal. Can't miss percent. And the B stands for base amount. And that is of. It's always after word of in the sentence. All right. So let's look at what we have. And I'll keep talking about how to do it. All right. So we have 340 is 85% of what number? All right. So here's the word is. So this is my A. Here's the percent. That's my P. And we don't know our B. This is what we don't know. So if we have A equals PB, that means times, we're going to put our numbers in. Here we go. We have 340 is 0.85 of B, because we don't know B. So this means this is multiplication. So I undo multiplication by, that's right, division. Okay, so I'm going to take my calculator. Now remember, these cancel out, so we'd only have B on the left. I'm going to have the 340 divided by the decimal 85. And I get a big number, 400. All right, so we want to check. 340 has to be 85% of 400. All right, so we're going to do that multiplication. 0.85 times the 400 should equal, looky there. Oh, sorry, I didn't do a 5. Sorry, 85 times 400. There it is, 340. So it checks. That is true. Now it says, what is 30% of 820? So here's my word is. So this is my A. I don't know my A. Here's my what? Percent of, that means this is my B. So here I go. A equals P times B. All right. So I'm going to have A equals 0.30 times 820. So I'm going to stick that in my calculator. And I get 246. Now we want to check it. Okay, so we can say 246 equals 0.30 of B. And we want to look for B. So I'm going to divide by 0.30. And I should get what? This big number right here. So I'm going to say the 246 divided by the 0.30 should give me, and there it is. It checks. Okay, now you can do the homework.